welcome back to Creative Chat Cafe. I am Rosann.
Hello, I'm Sonia Firestein.
And we are your hosts today on Creative Cafe, the business talk show where lifestyle entrepreneurs share ideas, discuss, share experiences, provide tips, guidance, resources, and inspiration that will help you achieve success.
Yeah, and today we're doing the first show of the month, and we're also featuring social businesses and organizations that are paying it forward and bringing change to the world. We hope to bring you inspiring stories of these social entrepreneurs that may even propel you to create your own awesome mission.
So I'm going to kind of share a little bit of our information again for some of you who are pretty new to the show. So you're looking at this, might be a little bit delayed there. So that's our show. We're a weekly online business talk show where lifestyle entrepreneurs hang out to discuss ideas, experiences, provide tips, guidance, resources, and inspiration that will help you achieve success. And if you're watching and wondering if do we have a hashtag, of course we do have a hashtag. Let's get social a little bit, folks. Creative Chat Cafe. If you're tweeting on Twitter, tweet us at #CChatCafe. All right, hashtag CCC Time to Hang Out and hashtag Creative Chat Cafe. And for the special hashtag for this month of May, is hashtag Thrive Through Change. Correction, not month of May. For this particular episode, we're doing a hashtag Thrive Through Change.
Which is perfect, because in today's episode, the topic is how to thrive through change and how to reinvent yourself. So to join us, someone who can talk about this is Rosann Levy. And she's an entrepreneur, author, and the president of the Roart group. She has more than 25 years of experience in helping business owners achieve their desired success. Rosann is also the author of the award-winning memoir, It's Never Too Late to Dance, Life's Journey to Empowerment, Success, and Change. So welcome to the show, Rosann.
Woohoo!
So we want to hear your story. We want you to tell us, what's your background? What do you do? How do you help people? Clue us in.
Do you have a few hours? Thank you, by the way. Thank you for having me join the show. I'm really excited and looking forward to participating with you. I've learned a lot over the past few months watching you, listening to you, and Zeph I know for a number of years, and she's just a dear. Totally respect this woman and is doing a great job of getting the message out there to all of these young entrepreneurs who really want to grow their business. Now, I have my background, as Sandra said, I have probably more than 25 years experience in working with small business owners and helping them to grow. I have a passion, a real passion that drives me to help them really achieve their goals and really achieve greater success. I am a person who loves building relationships, connecting people, and helping them to really make better decisions and become better leaders, but really most important, to live a better and a richer and fuller life. I started in my career, if you want me to share my story.
Yeah, please do.
I'm certainly happy to do that. I started many years ago. I started out in the travel industry, and after a number of years, I took time to raise my kids. After the hiatus, my husband, who had just started his company, asked me to join him, and I did. So for me, it was like I'm a believer. That's what's meant to be will be. I'm a fatalist, and I feel this was my time. So in 1986, I did join him, and I used the skills that I learned in the tourism industry to help me promote and market our business, which was a business consulting accounting firm.
Perfect.
Now, as I moved on and grew the business with my husband and two of my sons, I also opened a not-for-profit called the Family Business Council of Greater New York, which was an amazing experience. We had probably 350, 400 members by the time I moved on. And as a result of selling our company to a major accounting firm, we were bored. We thought, boy, we'll be retired and just live the good life, right? But we were really looking for something more challenging. And we ended up opening a Latin ballroom dance studio in the heart of New York City.
Cool.
So as you can hear, I am a woman who thrives on reinvention, who thrives on change. I love new adventures. I love challenges. It really keeps us young. It keeps us thriving, and it really makes life more exciting. So
Yeah.
I highly recommend this to all of you.
Is that why you wrote your memoir? Is it just from personal experiences, or what pushed you to write the memoir?
Well, when I opened the Latin Ballroom Dance Studio in New York, I was in my golden years, if you will. And I'm saying,
Golden
gosh,
years.
you know, like one of the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
And I felt if I could do this at this stage of my life, anybody can do anything at any stage, at any age. And I felt I had a message that I wanted to share and inspire people, all walks of life out there, that live your dreams, live your passions, take the risk, go for it. You know, don't stay stuck. So that is really what prompted me to write it. Initially, it was going to be a legacy for my family, my kids, my grandkids. But it really was, it's more my message out there, and it's a really wonderful, inspirational story. It's my journey of my life.
Super awesome. So Rosann, we're talking today. You know, one of the reasons why we're so happy to have you here on Creative Chat Cafe, because this month of May is, you know, the month of Mother's Day celebrations, and here at Entrepreneurs at Creative Chat Cafe, I'm talking about my business. The show, what we want to do is actually feature women entrepreneurs and mompreneurs, because it's Mother's Day month, and in this episode we are specifically talking about the famous topic, how to thrive through change and reinvention of yourself. Just like you mentioned, you know, earlier, you know, you can't be afraid. You have to move forward, take chances, take risks. And with years of experience on your hands, and I'm confident that you make the right person for us to have a conversation about this, because I remember your post back up, I think in 2013. See, I still remember it, folks. Yes, I'm not that old yet. I'm not golden. I may not be golden, but I still remember reading your post, and I'm going to share this post with our folks out there, because it was a Mother's Day post. Let me quickly get it on my screen so everybody can see it. So it was a Mother's Day post, and you had written about your trip. You had already gone to California, San Francisco, right?
Correct.
And you had written the topic was what are we waiting for? And I wanted to share this with our audience today because it says at the bottom here, it was a Mother's Day post. Happy Mother's Day. So I said, oh my God, this is so apropos, right? And can you all see the screen? Because I just want to make sure that it's right in the video. So
yes.
You wrote here, there's a quote. I want to quote a portion of your block here, right here. It says, life is a journey of hills and valleys. From one moment to the next, we never know what to expect. And what are we waiting for? And I think it is so, so true in what you just mentioned earlier. My question to you, Rosann, is, do you feel that many of us resist change because, you know, we feel like we will fail? And, you know, how did you use change to reinvent yourself in your own personal journey?
I do feel that many, many people resist change. I think they are controlled by their fear and concerned about the unknown, and they don't want to leave their comfort zone. And to me, the only way to really grow and learn is to take that risk and embrace your fears and put yourself out there. Find what you love to do. We all have different areas that we have. It could be a hobby, it could be a business, it could be a social, whatever it is. I really am a believer in that. What's the worst thing that could happen if you make the change? You know, we learn from this. Yes, sometimes it's a mistake, and sometimes it really works out for the better and takes us to the next adventure. Like I said, I really believe life is full of adventures. I take. I mean, I've done so many things. As I'm sitting here, actually, I'm looking up at one of the pictures on my wall. In my golden years, I went ziplining, you know, and I'm going to tell you, how many people did that? So it just reminded me. So, I mean, it was really something, and I said, oh, my God. But you know what? It was empowering. And for those people who live in that fear, you know what, this is not a dress rehearsal. This is our lives. You know, let's live it now. Take a walk on the beach and look at the water and the sun glistening on the ripples in the water, and go to a dog park. We did that one year with the snow, and we went snowshoeing. And again, this is all in my later years. When I was a kid, what did I know? So I'm so happy I can share with you now what I've learned, and really tell you, don't wait. Now is the time for you really to enjoy, explore your passions and dreams, and go for it.
Yeah, and one thing I just remembered, it was yesterday. I was at a networking event, and it was a presentation on the power of positive thinking, and the presentation was about, and part of the presentation that really stood out for me was when she said, you know, when we actually say we try, we're already setting ourselves for failure. It's kind of just do it, just like Nike says, you know what I mean? You just got to do it. You know, golden years or not, you just kind of have to do it, because you got to get your feet wet, right? Because it's through the action that we kind of conquer that fear, and we're able to move forward with change and reinvent ourselves. That's super cool. Great job.
You know, can I just say one thing about that? I really feel so strongly about making change, and so many people live as a victim, and they have this dark cloud over their head, and they're afraid to move, and fear that holds you back. It gives you this dark energy that you. It's so empowering when we take that step and test the water.
Yeah,
like you just said.
Also, I've actually started a meetup group that's all about intention setting, because I work with a lot of, my world is filled with people anywhere between, 24 and, 74. A lot of people, and a lot of these people are entrepreneurs, or they're, generally when they're younger, they work for other companies, but they have this idea of starting a business. And I notice that a lot of times in kind of traditional goal setting, we hold ourselves back because we convince ourselves that our goals are too high. And so this meetup group that I started kind of flips things on its head, and instead of saying, oh, this is what I'd like in my life, you talk about it as if it's already happening. And it's a really interesting shift in what people will start to believe is possible when they kind of remove the opportunity that it might not work out. If they're talking about it as if it's happening, they go for it, and their heart leads them to it. But when we're too much in our heads, we get concerned. We look at the fear, and we try to rationalize it, and we limit ourselves. And it's really interesting because some people are go-getters, and they go out and they do it. And I know that I'm one of those people. And it's, I see that everyone has that possibility. They have that ability within them. They just, they choose on some level not to go down that path.
It's a choice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So it's, there's so many different ways to get people to see that, just take that baby step and see, really, what is the worst that can happen?
Right.
The worst case scenario typically is actually not that bad. I have friends that right now, she works for Facebook, and she doesn't love the job, and she'd really love to be a blogger, but she makes 6 figures right now at Facebook, and she works so much there that starting the blog, she'd be taking a huge pay cut, but it would be something that she's genuinely passionate about. But she looks at that and she goes, well, I'd be losing out on the money. And I go, well, really, what's the worst case scenario? You move back in with mom and dad? Is that really that bad? But still, that is scary to her. And so right now she goes, I guess I'll stay with Facebook because, well, it's safe.
Because safe is always easier, right, Sandra? Safe is always easier.
Well, it's what you know.
So
because
exactly.
It's, again, about not leaving your comfort zone. Even though there's a piece of, people are conflicted. Oh, my God, but I'm so comfortable, but I'm really not happy. So really you have to think about what's going to make you happy. I mean, life is a journey, like you said, of hills and valleys. We all have to deal with the obstacles that we're confronted with. And believe me, I have my share of them, and it's the decisions that I made to move forward that really enabled me to live a fuller, richer life. And I feel so strongly about this, and which is really one of the main reasons I wrote the book, and it's all there.
Yeah.
I went through all it's all there. I just, if I want to say one thing that was interesting, because my husband has a mantra, and it was in the blog.
Yeah.
He said, one of his many
It's
mantras
all about the
is,
money?
yes. But in this particular time, we were there
Yeah.
for a memorial service, and he said, but is it always about the money? And it really isn't about that. It's really about, what do you want in your life? This is your life. Make the most of it.
You get to choose what you want. It's really crazy. Once you realize that magic, it starts to become more and more obvious.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's so empowering.
It's so empowering. I mean, to know that you have that much control, yet so much is still left up to chance. It's playing this game of just, I mean, I've really fallen in love with the power of attraction, and it's something that's just been really kind of, I don't know, it's soothing to me to know that, I do have the ability to control my own outcome in a lot of ways. But at the same time, you have to be open to those roadblocks and know that just because you saw it happening a certain way, it may not end up exactly like that. But no, kind of playing that, sitting somewhere in the middle of knowing that you have this ability to create magic in your life, but also being open to the possibility that the magic you thought you were creating might end up being a little bit different, but being open to that and always playing with what is presenting itself.
Ooh, so true. Woohoo! Clapping for you.
It's really a lot of it. Also, it's what you're saying is it's the power of positive thinking.
Yeah.
And if we can rid ourselves of that negativity, there's so much of it out there.
Yeah.
We are much better off because if
exactly.
you, like you said, Sandra, I believe it was you that said it. If you really look at what it is that you want, what do you want to achieve, and you have that vision, that positive vision, it'll happen for you.
Right. It really does. Yeah.
For me to open a dance studio, I'm going to tell you that was in my golden years. We had the biggest, hottest Latin ballroom dance studio in New York.
That's awesome.
Right after Dancing with the Stars came out, and it was an amazing experience. It really was, and I learned to dance.
Awesome.
Okay, so we know you've been in business with your husband Art for many years, and we would like to know what inspired you both to start the business, and how did it change your life? What was that process for you?
Yeah, because it'll be interesting to find out and learn, because getting, that's change when you have to go into business with your spouse. I want to tell you, it's not always easy, right? So I'm sure you have a lot of tips for us today.
It's not for everyone. I will agree with that. I've seen many husbands and wives who really can't work together, and it's their choice or whatever, and they're better off not. But for Artie and I, we have very different identities. We're very different people. We have great respect and love for one another, so that's one of the reasons it's worked. But when we started together, he started the accounting consulting business in New York, and I was looking for something to do, and he said, come join me. Now, I have to tell you, he's a CPA. I can't count to 3. So this was a very interesting experience for us. What am I going to do? He had to find a job for me.
Right.
But as I think I mentioned earlier, I used the marketing skills that I had learned in the tourism industry, and I used it to promote and create a brand for our company in New York. And that worked so well. So I was out there opening the doors, and he was there closing the doors. And it was a very, very nice relationship, both personally and in business. Why did we do it? That was one reason. The second reason was we started networking, and we saw the possibilities of how to build, because as I mentioned, I am a great networker. I totally believe that's the best way to build a business, is to create relationships.
Oh, yeah.
Zeph and I met a number of years ago. We built a relationship, and look at this. Look what we're doing.
That's true.
That's recession-proof, isn't it? If your business is relationship built, it's recession-proof. It doesn't matter really what's happening with the economy. You have this kind of, you have authentic support from people. It's not just a deal, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
So I just am going to do a quick shout out again. If you folks are watching this live, wherever you are, you are watching Creative Chat Cafe. Here it is, the information of the show, a weekly online business talk show where lifestyle entrepreneurs hang out to discuss ideas, share experiences, provide tips, guidance, resources, and inspiration that will help you achieve success. And in today's episode, we're talking about how to thrive through change and reinvention of yourself. And if you're tweeting on Twitter, make sure you tweet us at @CChatCafe. Our hashtag for this particular episode is Thrive Through Change, and our regular hashtags are CCC Time to Hang Out and also hashtag Creative Chat Cafe. And folks, for the first show of the month, especially the first Wednesdays of our show, like the one you're on today, we also feature social businesses and organizations that are paying it forward and bringing change to the world, because we believe as entrepreneurs, we have more resources than just money, right? Rosann, it's just not about the money, right? We are resourceful, so we hope to bring you inspiring stories that kind of may trigger and propel your own, probably start a social enterprise and whatnot.
Cool, yeah. So our next guest is exactly that. Meena Singh is an award-winning personal development coach and the executive director and founder of In Awe Foundation, a nonprofit organization that helps people affected by abuse, addiction, or anger rebuild lives through recovery coaching and counseling. So please, help me welcome our second guest to today's segment.
Thank you.
Welcome, Meena.
So, how are you all? Thank
great.
you so much for having us on the show today and honoring us.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And we've been talking with Rosann earlier on, and we were talking about how we at Creative Chat Cafe are celebrating this Mother's Day month by featuring life experience and stories of self-reinventions of successful women entrepreneurs and mompreneurs like both of you. So in this episode, we're talking about a very common topic, how to thrive through change and reinvention of yourself. So, just like we had Rosann do, we would love to hear your story and learn a little bit about you and what your background is.
Actually, I just have a request from one of our board members from Missouri for In Awe Foundation, just requesting the link, and I said, guess what? It's on LinkedIn, so go check it out. But anyway, that was a little wonderful, I don't want to say, inspiration for me to stay very focused on our conversation. In Awe Foundation provides recovery coaching, actually. The counseling is in such a way that it complements the counseling, not that it provides the counseling. So I just wanted to clarify that, and for those people that are affected by abuse, addiction, or anger. The main impetus for my creating the foundation was basically my own life's journey. And it's interesting, I'm sure that must have come up. Yes. I have a feeling those words will always come up.
To hear it.
I know you too well, Zeph. I know you too well. Yes, and working with you in the past. Thank you.
Yes.
So, that being said, basically that was my inspiration, is my own experience, something I never really wanted to have anyone else feel what I felt. But you really can't. You have to move through and forward with those feelings. Yeah. And counseling is more about feeling them, and it's unfortunate a lot of times a lot of agencies do refer to it as being a victim. We don't even utilize that word. We do not even utilize the word victim at all. We believe that every individual can be empowered. I think I might have heard that before, and I know you hear that a lot in coaching, but it's not just about empowerment. Our mission is more about engagement, encouragement, and then comes the empowerment. All right. So it's really not only a three-stage process, because the first step is not just about prevention, then it's about integrating all the coping skills, and then it's about the transformation, which is provided through the recovery coaching.
Okay.
That's awesome. We're talking, this is all a lot, because when you talk about stories and all that stuff, there's always a story behind it, right? And I love the fact that you've taken something negative and changed it into something so positive. So that in itself is kudos to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the story that led to forming the foundation you mentioned.
Yes, I'm
is
going to
your
tell
own
you
personal
that.
experience.
You know what it is? My personal experience. It's ironic that this never came to my mind, except for the fact that you ladies have chosen in honor of not only honoring our cause for this month, but also the fact that it's Mother's Day. And how ironic is it that my mom had mentioned to me that probably about 18, 19 years ago, I used to talk about these, quote, battered people centers that we would be opening. But then we changed it and involved it, and then my husband, we recently got married about 4 months ago.
Congratulations!
Thank you. So he said to me, this was about 8 years ago when we first started going out, he said, how about coaching centers? And I go, I love that. So I started to just incorporate it in my talking and my lifestyle and just conversations, and it really took off.
Yeah.
So everybody knows me as either the in-all lady or the lady who wants to open coaching centers.
That's awesome.
That's a good way to be known.
That's a good way to be remembered, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So my
That's
mom
true.
was really my inspiration because she reminded me, you used to come in my bedroom and talk about these things, and I want you to never forget that focus of what you went through. And she says, as long as you do that, I make a vow to you. And this was, I swear, Zeph, I have no clue where the story is coming from, but it's just here, so I'm going to be in the moment and express it. I might even have a few tears in my eyes. She called me one day on my mobile phone, and she knows that's pretty much where she can get me. She says, are you sitting, or, are you calm? Are you, not driving? I want to tell you something. And I go, what's that? I knew it was serious. And she's like, what's that? I was on a cliffhanger. It's like when you're watching a movie, what's going to happen? And she goes to me, I will feed you for the rest of my life as long as there is a breath left in me. If you are true to your cause. And I believe it. And I go, wow. It was like that fear. We were talking about fear.
Yeah.
Right. Fear automatically lifted. I knew I would always, in a sense, be provided for. And, they talk about it on the Maslow's triangle. The basic needs would always be met.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And that really became my inspiration. And I go, gung-ho, I'm going for it. This is it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Basically, my story, real quick, is, if you won't mind my being so upfront, I'm going to say about 6 years ago, we began in our foundation after we actually incorporated a for-profit business, and the fact that we're talking about reinventing yourself, I just felt it would be very appropriate. The for-profit business, it was actually incorporated first, and then my transition through my journey was really to follow my passion, and I realized back in 2009 when I was laid off from corporate America, the typical story, and what am I going to do? I was distraught. I was crying. I was hysterical on September 1st. Well, you see, God has a plan, because the next day I found my dream, and I knew I would be coach. Don't ask me. Do not ask me how I knew. I just knew I knew. I intuitively knew I would be a coach. I would do this for the rest of my life, and here we are.
Yeah. That's our moment of magic, right? Once you let it in.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. Here's what, ladies, we're talking about. I'm sorry to cut you off. Are you still working on the story, Meena?
I'm sorry, would you say that again?
Were you still working on the story? Because I got excited.
I'm pretty much, it's okay, I'm pretty much wrapped up, because the transition and the reinvention was very quickly from in-our coaching to in-our foundation. That's it.
Woohoo! One of the questions I have, I think, for each one of you ladies, including you, Sandra, you may not be moms, but, I just want to kind of ask Rosann first this question, which is, we're talking about change and reinvention of ourselves. What would you say? I'm sure you have a lot. I have no doubt about this, but what would you say, Rosann, your biggest aha moment in life that probably led you to a major shift in your business and life? Because I think our audiences are probably business folks, entrepreneurs, and we entrepreneurs constantly go through change. I mean, folks, if you're not used to change, because I think change is one sure thing you can count on in your lives. And if you're not, if you're not open to change, then being in business for yourself or being an entrepreneur may not be best for you. But let me ask you this, Rosann. What would you say your biggest aha moment in your life that kind of led to a major shift in your business and life? Because I'm sure there's many, but what comes to mind right now?
Well, there really are many. It's hard to
Sure.
really, it's hard to really pinpoint one, and
If you had to
because
pick one.
if I think I'm going to say I mean, sometimes an aha moment can come out of some really a crisis.
Right.
And I tell people, what are we waiting for? Let's
Right.
not wait for crisis to strike, because we all can be affected by that. But I'm choosing to pick the aha moment of what prompted us to open a dance studio.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
because that was really monumental. Again, it was in my golden years, and as fate would have it, we had a trip planned to Cuba. And this was about 8 years ago, when you couldn't go to Cuba, and we were fortunate enough to find a way to get there. And by the way, the most beautiful country I have ever seen, and I'm so excited that I'm so excited that it's opening, because it's definitely, everybody should get there. Everybody, it's beautiful. Anyway, so we had this trip planned to Cuba, and I said to Artie, if we're going to Cuba, I said, we have to learn how to dance salsa. I said, because that's the heart and soul of that land, and I really want to know. Now, you have to understand, we never danced before. Like he said, we used to fake it at, at parties, at weddings, or whatever. Oh, yeah, I'll do that, whatever, the disco and so on and so forth. So here we are. He didn't want to do it, but he agreed to try it, and lo and behold, he loved it. And after the first lesson, we signed up for a package of lessons, continued signing up, went to Cuba. We danced throughout Cuba. We danced at all the clubs in New York, the Copacabana, the Latin Quarter, Sounds of Brazil, which is SOB, still there today. And it was a blast. I mean, what was funny to me is we were dancing all over New York City while my adult children were home sleeping, and we were out till the wee hours of the morning. So that was an experience also. But when you say an aha moment, what that led us to was opening up Soho Dance in Soho. And who knew? But it opened up so many doors, just starting with this one dance lesson that prompted us to open up this amazing business where we inspired people, where we opened up doors and changed people's lives through dancing. Dancing is such a beautiful thing for people to experience. I highly recommend it, both emotionally and physically. It is a wonderful thing. So my biggest aha moment from a happy note, from a positive note, is when we started taking Latin ballroom dance lessons.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What about you, Sandra? What would you say? Do you have an aha moment in your life that led to a major shift in your business and life?
Yeah, so I'm gonna choose one that's still. I've only been in business 14 months, so it's kind of hard to know. And I think it's true in life. It's hard to know what is going to be the real shift and what is maybe a shift on the way to another shift. So when I started my business 14 months ago, I wanted to help everyone, and I knew that everyone could benefit from what I have to offer. I offer personal concierge services, so it's essentially part-time personal assistance on a membership basis.
Right.
And anyone, and I kid around, anyone from the age of 18 to 108 can benefit from what I have to offer. So I was finding that going out and about trying to just represent this message that, it's for everyone, really wasn't working. And I could feel that it wasn't working. There was something about it that wasn't sitting right for me. And one of the things that I noticed wasn't working for me was that I felt like I was giving people fish, but I wasn't teaching people to fish. I didn't want to feel like I was easily replaceable, or that I wasn't actually really providing the value that I wanted for people. And so it just so happens that the month that I launched my business, I started a women's networking group that's all about just skipping through the nonsense and let's just talk about the challenges that we face as business owners or as career-driven women, where regardless of whether you're just starting out at an entry-level position or you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, you're always going to be facing new challenges. And I was looking for ways to market my business, and I realized that I was already doing this women's networking group that was just for my own pleasure. And I started thinking I needed to find a way to bring people to me. And so I started playing with this idea, what if I put together these other groups that are also about helping people, just have more control in their lives. And I mentioned earlier that I have this meetup group where we go and we talk about our goals in this different way. It's a different mindset to talk about goals. And all of a sudden, once I started putting these things together, I realized that not only was it the gift that I wanted to be giving people, and I am teaching people to fish now by being very honest about what it is that they want to see in their lives, it's also kind of snowballed into this bigger thing where I realized that what I really want to do is build community. I really want to build a community of people that are committed to living a happier life and having that kind of conscious, deliberate control to know that every action that they're taking has an impact on their happiness, and I want people to choose happiness. And so it was this aha moment of, I knew that I needed to do something more. Once I figured out what more I needed to be doing, all of a sudden it's opened up this huge portal into something much, much bigger than I ever thought it would be. And now I'm able to market my business in a way that's much more digestible to people because I'm able to come to them and say, the reason I'm doing this for you is so that you can be happier. This is not so that you can work more or whatever. It's really, I want you to take the opportunity to grab the reins of your life and choose opportunities that are going to be enriching to you, and not just spend your money on new TVs, but go on that vacation and know that life goes on when you're back home. But what I've found is that a lot of people are out of touch with what makes them happy. And so now this is something that's troublesome for me, especially when I talk to young people who feel that happiness can wait. And I've really found that I want to help people realize that happiness starts now, and that you might have your down days, and I'm not trying to build this perfect picture, but yeah, I mean, it's just one ideal led to the next, and it's snowballing, and all of a sudden I realize kind of what my dharma is for right now anyways, and I know that might shift and change, but just, knowing that now I really know what the purpose is of my mission and the role that I want to play within it. So
that's super awesome. That's Sandra. That is in itself a self-reinvention. So kudos to you, man. Kudos to you. What about you, Meena? What's your aha moment?
Well, there are so many, but I think if I had to pick one, would be when I was at the 2013 event with Tony Robbins, and I did the firewalk and became an official firewalker. And I knew I could envision my life in front of me. I could envision all the people I cared about, that I loved, a deep sense of gratitude. I had tears in my eyes. 5,000 people at the Meadowlands in New Jersey were shaking and moving and grooving, and I mean, the ability that he has. He's also my mentor, and I know we're going to be, doing business together. It's just a matter of time before he discovers who we are. Not so much we know who he is, but it's just time consuming for me to chase after him. And I believe in the law of attraction. It will happen when it's time. But the aha moment, I think, was in the moment, and this is kind of crazy. This is how crazy I am. As I'm walking on the coals, 1,200-degree coals, I realized, I've been living the life of my dreams, working with our board members, working with clients, working with coaches, working with counselors, everything I had imagined, being married just recently, being with the man of my dreams. Of course, he's totally different than I am, tall, blonde, Caucasian. Here I am, 5'4". A little opposite, but opposites do attract. Yes. But I think I loved what Sandra was saying about respect and love. I think the other aha moment, real quick, was when my husband said to me, "Oh, this is what you want to do? Oh, well, you never asked me if you wanted some financial help." And I was like, well, we're just going out for like a little while now. I'm not going to ask you for financial help. I mean, so he goes, well, you didn't ask, so I didn't say yes. And I go, oh, all I had to do was ask?
Right.
Yeah, and that was like an epiphany for me. Like, all we have to do is ask for help. Yeah. And it's as simple as that. And he was willing to co-sign the loan with me. go to IPEC coaching school 2010 in April, graduated from IPEC coaching school. It was amazing. And my life began. And it was like, wow.
Awesome. Congratulations. I think in asking you all ladies this question, I'm answering that question myself. And I think we talk about, how we take change and experience it, because that's, I think, for sure, one sure thing that we all will go through in life is change. There's constant changes in our lives. And for me, what one aha moment I think that really led to, how I live my life on a day-to-day basis, building my own business and also my life, my perspective. And people often come to me and say, how are you? Because last year, for some of you ladies know that I went through cancer. People kept asking me, how do you stay positive? How do you stay positive? How do you move forward? So here's one aha moment that I had in the past that actually led me to, to have this mindset that I have today, that has allowed me to go through change and also reinvent myself for the better. So in the past, when I was in a different business, all I had to do, a lot of times, we traveled for conferences, we attended conferences and watched the speakers. Sometimes I'm sitting down there for hours. I'm like, listen, I need something new, something fresh. You know what I mean? Like, hello? But then one of my mentors said, you sit down and listen to it, because you never know, something someone said might change you forever, because it could just be one phrase, one line. And you know what, I think I was so ready for change, and I wanted to be somebody better, and I took it all in like a sponge. I was very open. I learned so much. I took the good, left the bad, because sometimes you all hear people whining, right, ladies, like everything is still about right? So, we want to avoid that. So what I did was I became a great student. I took it all in. I was such a great sponge at that time. And I think that really helped me propel forward. I've attended seminars and conferences with people like Robert Kiyosaki, John Maxwell. And I sometimes think like, okay, some of these guys are saying the same thing. At that time, I couldn't see how this was going to change my life. But, because I wanted to reinvent myself, I understood that I have to go make some changes to move forward. Therefore, I felt that my aha moment was basically sit down, zip your mouth, listen, and take the good, throw the bad, and use that information to kind of move forward and reinvent myself. And I think because I was at that time conditioned and trained to think that way, therefore, moving forward in life and reinventing myself, I took that all in and made the better version of me, So whatever it is, if there's somebody whiny over here, go like, whiny, and I'm like, no, So I think that was my aha moment, because I decided, because Rosann, you said earlier, right? We have to make choices. What is it that we're choosing? Do we choose to be in fear, or do we take risks and move forward? And I think in my case, my aha moment was like I was smart enough to take it all in and to just like sit through those conferences and listen, and hopefully that made an impact in my life. I mean, can you all relate to that?
And I just want to say one thing. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Rosann. Then
Okay.
we'll get to you, Meena.
I don't want to interrupt, but I having written my book and experienced the world of dance and everything,
right.
My metaphor for life is dance. And whatever, and I tell this to everybody, whatever your passion is, whatever it is in life, I say keep on dancing. And I feel so strongly about that, because if you follow that mantra, if you will, it just drives you and propels you forward to positive things, to new adventures, to new challenges, and really to find your happiness. Happiness comes from within. And I think all you ladies are so beautiful and so strong and so powerful and have such a great message to share with the world out there. We can make it happen. We can make it happen. Take these people and move them forward.
That's true. Before we go on real quick, I just want to, shout out to our audience right there. I just want to share our information where you can actually send your questions because we are in a live show. So you're probably wondering if you can interact with us. Yes. I'm going to show you the pages that you can send your question to. So if you're watching this live broadcast on our Google Plus event page, you probably have this page right here, and it's streaming live right here in this page right here. And you see this Q&A and live. You can click there and ask your questions. I will get those questions or from my end, or if you're watching on our website, and this is the link to the website, you will see this. Oops. And at the bottom, if you scroll down, you can actually leave your questions, your name, your questions down there, and I will fish your questions there. I will try to get that, those questions answered. So, Sandra, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, well, I have a question for Meena, if it's okay. Yeah. So we are on the topic of reinvention, and you've mentioned a couple times that your organization has kind of shifted over the last few years. How is it that you're able to help your clients now? What is
Well, thank you for that, because I was just thinking when we were talking about reinventing, and it's like that's in a sense what we're exactly doing is not only changing people's mindsets through their belief systems, because that's really what coaching is all about, is shifting your beliefs and really overcoming those limiting beliefs. But it's more than that. It's what Deb had said before. It's through taking inspired actions that real change begins.
Yeah.
I am infamous for saying these little cliche sayings, whether we're on our radio show, which is called Speak Up and Step Out. It's a weekly radio show on Tuesdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm always saying, just do it. I steal it from Nike all the time. Because sometimes it's the way you walk through the fear, and I think, I know that Rosann also mentioned it, is you face it. You face your fears, and that's the reason the story for myself on the website is face your fears. The way that we help clients is amazing, because I know for a fact when I see that twinkle in their eyes in a matter of 5 minutes, when I meet someone at the grocery store, I'll share one quick client story. She actually wanted to sign up for coaching at a grocery store. We connected at such a deep level within literally 5, not even, I swear, I think it was a matter of 2 to 3 minutes. She loved the energy. She knew that she needed to make a change. She wanted to reinvent herself, which is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
She said, yep, absolutely, give me your business card. She wasn't embarrassed. Like some people would have these limiting beliefs. Oh, well, what's the stranger doing to, talking to her in the middle of a grocery store, exchanging phone numbers? She didn't let anything limit her. And her business has grown as a result of us working together. That's only one. Another one, quickly, a client story is she literally got a text message after working together for 3 months from her husband that said, "My beautiful bride," and he hadn't said this to her in years. I'm talking about decades. And this is only after 3 months of coaching. Can you imagine?
You have to open up those pathways. Yeah.
Exactly. So she's also reinventing herself, and I'm glad that this was the topic today. And it's not just about us talking about and booing and going, oh my God, I've been beaten, I've been this, oh, I've got a problem with addiction. No, get yourself back up, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, as I say, and get going. Let's shake and bake.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. We got to shake that leg. I think we have talking about Mother's Day, right, Sandra? This is going to be fun, folks.
Yeah, Sunday is Mother's Day. Don't forget, okay? Everyone make that phone call, prepare that gift. We want to take the opportunity to wish all of our audience members out there who are watching to just have a happy Mother's Day. Like, this holiday was started by Hallmark, but who cares? Because why wouldn't we honor our mothers? And I remember as a kid always being like, what? When do we get Children's Day? Why is there a Mother's Day? Why don't we get Children's Day? And my mom would look at me and be like, every day is Children's Day. I get one day.
Sandra, oh my God, I spelled your name wrong. I apologize. I think it was Sandra. Typo, I'm sorry, but I wanted to share this picture I have of you and your mom. Is that your mom or you?
So that's my mom. and that was my Mr. Teekers, my cat. So I have, I'm very
Wait,
similar.
which one's your mom's, Sandra, on the right?
Yeah, that's my mom in the pink.
You look so much like her when she was younger.
Well, so when you look at pictures of us as kids, like, we are the same. And so my mom and I always clashed a little bit because we're so similar. But
oh my God, yeah.
Now we're to the level where we really understand each other, and we really enjoy each other's company instead of just fighting all the time. But my mom is awesome. So in that picture, I'm baking the cookies that she always taught me, and they're still the cookies that I bake. And so I had that mom that would help me get my hands dirty and bake with her and cook with her. And I'm pretty sure I know that the Beatles were playing in the background while the picture was playing.
That's awesome.
She was a hippie in the 60s and is kind of a cookie lady, but she owns it. And
your mom and I would have gotten along.
I have a question though for you, Sandra. And I think we're going to ask everyone on the show today, is that I love to hear, because we're talking about Mother's Day, we're talking about mompreneurs, we're kind of celebrating women in this episode because this month is Mother's Day celebration. But I wanted to kind of ask you, looking at that picture, right? We think of our moms juggling act, balancing, and all that stuff. And I'm sure our moms have gone through changes. I mean, tons of changes and tons of self-reinventions. But if you were to think of one thing about your mom that probably relates to the topic we're talking today, whether it's a change or self-reinvention, what do you recall about her?
So she is the first to admit that we are always works in progress. She has, ever since she was really young, and these are the stories that I get from her sister, is she's always dealt with temperament issues. She was the one who was throwing tantrums in public, and her dad would get kind of aggressive with her. And she's the one that says, look, if you have issues going on inside, it's up to you to deal with them and deal with them in a way that is constructive for everyone. So it took me a little while. She introduced me to meditation when I was young, but and then it took later, just a couple of years ago, my dad was the one that really encouraged me to go and pursue it. But she's the one that has really shown me that, look, like, you're going to have to allow yourself to just self-evaluate and process the weight that you carry, and don't just shove it away. Like, really just deal with it straight on. It's hard, it hurts, but you're going to be better for it. And so she's a rad lady. I love my mom.
Yay! Yay for Sandra's mom. What about you, Rosann? Maybe it's, you want to share your story about your mom or your daughter, because I know you're pretty close with your daughter, and your daughter actually is a business owner herself. She's an entrepreneur herself. Would you like to tell the story of your mom or your daughter?
Listen, I just want to tell you, ladies, if you have your moms, just love them, appreciate them, enjoy all your time with them. My mom is gone since 1981, and there's not a day that I don't think about her or miss her. She was an amazing, amazing woman, and I feel she was my mentor, and really I am who I am today. And
because of her.
Yeah. She is. It's her legacy is who I am and what I can give out there to the world and to people. She was a beautiful woman.
And now you're passing on the baton to your daughter.
Yeah, and I will tell you, it's interesting because listening to you, Sandra, I've learned from my daughter. Yeah. My daughter is a yoga, she owns a yoga studio, and she's an amazing yogi. And I got into yoga because of her, and I got into meditation because of her.
Awesome.
And it really, that was one of the things when a crisis had struck my family that, and I'm very thankful and very grateful and appreciative how things are well now. But through that, when I got into the meditation, it got me through my journey at that time and opened up doors for new things where I, at that time, took a workshop on how to teach kids yoga. It was called Next Generation Yoga. So I taught some yoga as well, which was interesting. But that was the influence of my daughter to me. So we can learn from one another. I believe I've taught her many things and will continue to do some. But I learn from her on a regular basis as well. So it's a beautiful thing. And I really please enjoy your moms.
Yes. Yes.
They are very, very special people, and you know, when they're not here, you know, you miss them. So.
True. Hey, you know what? My story sounded just like your mom. You know, I used to butt heads with her, and you know, she's no longer with us. Whew, now I'm gonna get teary.
No, let me tell you, I butt heads with my mom all the time. I did, but that's okay.
I'm gonna be teary-eyed. I'm gonna tell you guys, right? My mom is gone, but this was my wedding day, and she's a very powerful woman. I get all my strength from her. I learned a lot from her. And Papa died really early, and she had to raise us by herself. One thing I learned from her, she says, we are not defined by what happens to us, but by how we respond to it. Yeah. So that's the thing that I learned from her, you know, and to her, to all our moms. What about you, Meena?
Well, I was just thinking, even though I could share lots and lots of stories, I think I was very pleased when my sister-in-law said to me, she says, you have no idea how proud your daughter is of you, being such a wonderful mom. But then I thought about my mom and how she is truly an inspiration.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't worry about what people say, whether it's because it's overweight. Great. She continues to do the right thing. She has great morals and values. She helped me raise our children through my trials and tribulations. I overcame addiction as well as, you know, being in an abusive marriage back then. And she truly, one word would probably describe her, which is really, I don't think, fair. But if I had to pick a word, it would be, she's, you know what, she's very flexible. So flexibility is her thing, and I know that it's necessary. As I was thinking and listening to you ladies, flexibility is required exactly for change.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, you know
what?
Reinventing
yourself, you have to be flexible and open to new things.
And also one more word. You made me think about that, Meena. Adaptable.
Adaptable. Yeah.
And my mother was also a very adaptable woman, and I think that I have that as well. You know, so flexibility and adaptability were hand in hand.
Mutability is another word. The ability to mutate in various situations.
Mutate. I love that word. Mutate.
Mutability.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay! Kudos to all our moms! Yay! Happy Mother's Day!
Yeah, so do you want me to just fire away here real quick?
Let's get Rosann going first.
So Rosann, how can we get in touch with you?
Oh, okay. Email or website, or what is preferred?
Whatever you prefer.
Whatever you want. I have on the screen here your website.
Okay. Oh, I see it. Okay. Certainly you can reach me through my website. You can reach me by phone, which is a 917-744-3660. That's another way, and if I'm not available, leave me a message. I always call back, always. So, and I'd love to hear from you. If there's anything, even if you want to learn some basic salsa, give me a call.
There you go. Take on her offer. Take on her offer. Go ahead, Meena. Let's share your information so our folks can get in touch with you.
Thank you. The information I think best would be the info email, which is info@inawefoundation.org. There is the website, thank you very much, which is just inawefoundation.org. And if you can help us to contribute, whether it's an hour or $1, it doesn't matter. We are a 501c3. You can go to our GoFundMe page, which is GoFundMe.com/332R8K. And if they need a phone number, which they would prefer, to have a conversation, which we would be willing to give just for the entrepreneurs that soar, today only 15 minutes of complimentary coaching for anyone who wants to just have a conversation, because I wanted to have a giveaway.
Yeah.
And to find out how it is that they can help someone that's affected by one of these areas of abuse, addiction, or anger, because you can't talk about this in a group format. So the phone number is 973-440-8427.
Thank you so much. Sandra, go ahead.
Yeah, so my company is called Pursuit of Seattle, and like I mentioned, personal concierge services. So if that's something you're interested in, hit me up there. I can offer virtual assistance as well. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, this is my Twitter handle, @SeattleSandra. It's also my Instagram. And so I have one more here, #HappySeekers. That's the new way I want to get people to get in touch with me, is share a moment of happiness and hashtag it #HappySeekers. And that way we can all share in these moments, whether you're eating food, taking a nap, I don't care. Whatever.
I love that.
Awesome. So, folks, a little bit of our information, and if you're pretty new to the show, you're probably wondering, where else, can you watch the show? Where else can you watch the show? So we have a little bit of information right here I'm going to share with you. So you can go to our website, www.entrepreneursthatsoar.com, and there is a tab right there that says...
Uh-oh.
Did we lose it?
I don't know. Zeph? All right, so I'm gonna close it out, guys. We gotta just say goodbye. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Sorry for the end of the show, going a little haywire there. But yeah, Zeph had a little technical difficulties. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you next time on Creative Chat Cafe. Bye,
Thank you, Sandra. Bye, Meena. Bye, Zeph.
Thank you, Zeph and Sandra.